Ah, the pickup basketball game, a place to relive the joys of youth and bond with longtime friends. This particular game has become a tradition, filled with many former Liberty stars and alums. They've been meeting, rain or shine, for basketball and brotherhood for the last 20 years. Maxey Wilkerson is one of the earliest members.
We started at LCA back in the 1980s. And for some reason, we just kept it up over the years. And, I was 57 years old this year.
Max and I have probably been playing at least 22, 23 years together. And really became friends over the last probably 15 years.
These guys, including Liberty basketball coach Richie McKay, are about to learn that not only does basketball bring people together, but unfortunately, so does tragedy.
It was a typical Sunday night. We're hooping. Maxey was on fire, as Maxey can get.
He didn't miss a shot. He was hitting everything, and we're like, man, what's up, Maxey? You're hitting everything. And we were on the same team together that night, and we'd played our games, and Maxey typically would sit out after the second or third game just to readjust knee braces, kind of just take that break. Knew that that's what he could run, and then he would get back out, play a couple more games, and that was kind of his night.
And we were going up and down, and one of the guys said, "Hey, help, help."
We're on the opposite side of the court, and we just hear him yelling, at Maxey, 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 and we just stopped.
And you just see Maxey kind of tilted over on the bleacher and fairly unresponsive.
That was it. That was the start of, the next, what seemed like forever. As we ran over to see what was happening with Maxey, realizing that there was nothing left there. He was just non-responsive, starting to turn color. Really was just a situation where we started to take quick action.
Instinct took over, and we got him on his back and laid him down and started CPR and chest compressions. And
so I picked up my phone, started calling 911. I ran to the AED, which was right across the other side of the gym. As I'm running back, I remember by that point they'd already gotten me what was happening, what was going through the situation. I remember handing the phone off to somebody else, unzipping the AED, and by that point Richie had already started some compressions. Steve was checking his airways, and so as I kind of came through, set the AED down, we were hooking him up. At that point, Richie kind of jumped off, and I jumped in.
What I remember most, honestly, is I thought we lost him. I mean, he responded initially and then flatlined and responded really briefly. And then the paramedics got there and they did the big machine, the Big Daddy, and they loaded him up in the back of the ambulance, and he was there for 20 minutes because what we had heard is they're not going to move him until they had some vitals, and we huddled up and prayed because we thought it was over.
Maxey's life would hang in the balance. Miraculously, the EMTs had only been 2 blocks away when they got the call. The quick acting of his friends had given him the time he needed. Maxey had beaten the odds.
Less than 5% of people live that have actual cardiac arrest. I mean, that's a scary number.
Needless to say, when we got calls the next day or two, incredible joy and a sense of relief, and more than anything, the affirmation that we serve a miraculous God.
I mean, if you think about it, basically I'm not breathing, I have no pulse. They wrote on my report that, basically I was dead. They wrote death on the thing when they called him. I was a code 0.
To get the phone call from Jimmy or a text, whatever it was, that said, hey, Maxey's, had this done, they've replaced this. I was like, are you kidding me? I can't believe it, And when you get there to see him upright and sitting up in less than 12 hours from him dead on the floor, I mean, really was just dead on the floor. And
people say the word lucky. There's no such thing as luck. It does not exist. You know, there is a purpose and there is a path, but divine intervention was definitely in play that night.
That intervention came in part due to the fact that two of the friends that rushed to help Maxey that night had just recently received CPR training.
We got an email about taking a CPR class, and we had a similar one at Virginia, and I thought it was mandatory, so I thought I had to. We practiced on the dummies and watched the videos, and we did all that, and I thought then, just like I thought the first time I did it, great to have, but probably won't ever need it. Well, fast forward about 10 days, 2 weeks, and there I was. And, you know, if I could encourage anyone watching, you just never know. And it was such a blessing to have the confidence to start doing chest compressions and having the rhythm and the count, and seeing Steve Perry do he started doing the mouth-to-mouth, and Steve Bowman grabbed the AD and we patched him up and we cleared him and checked the scene, called 911. I mean, it was really, for some unprofessionals, it was really well organized.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the biggest thing. Having, you know, two guys fresh off of CPR training with the AED training. You sit in those training classes, you never know who you're going to be saving, or if you are even going to save somebody, you know. But then to have your, you know, good friend right there on the floor needing that training, it just kicks in. You don't think about it. You're not like, okay, what was I supposed to do next? It just happens, you know. And so God was definitely, you know, had a plan for Maxey after this.
Look, when he came back to the gym about 2 weeks later, you know how you think as a Christian, man, if I was only around when Jesus was alive, if I just had access to what the disciples had access to, I would never, ever doubt him. It was one of those moments, like, he was done. I even called my wife and said, I think one of our guys just died. And to see him walking in there and smiling, it was like, really, would you ever not trust God and his sovereignty again? And yeah, so it was neat to be a part of.